Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all excited to dive into today's topic on improving sleep quality through TCM. Question for you all. How many of you have had patients struggle with sleep issues that seem resistant to conventional approaches? If so, please type yes in the chat room. My name is Myra Chen, your host and moderator for today's eLotus webinar. Here at eLotus, we have been hosting educational courses for over 3 decades and are proud to be your trusted source for premium CEU content, with over 200 speakers, 700 courses, and 3,000 hours of CE. It is my pleasure to introduce our new speaker, Dr. Burke, a highly respected authority in acupuncture and holistic health. Dr. Susan Burke, a distinguished practitioner with over 35 years of experience, began her journey in 1987 when she earned her NCCAOM licensure. She further solidified her expertise by obtaining her Doctor of Oriental Medicine degree in 1989 and pursued advanced acupuncture studies in Shenzhen, China. Dr. Burke is a trailblazer in holistic health with specialized training in Qi beauty, making her one of the pioneering practitioners in the USA. Her dedication to excellence is evident in her Southern California practice and her contributions to media platforms, where she shares her profound insights into acupuncture and wellness. Today's webinar, Nourish, Sleep, Replenish Qi, TCM Practices to Restful Nights, is designed for acupuncturists looking to deepen their understanding of how TCM can improve sleep quality. Dr. Burke will explore the vital connections between sleep, qi, and overall health, and provide practical tools to help your patients achieve restful sleep. Before we begin, a quick reminder to set your chat from hosts and panelists to everyone so that everyone can be part of the conversation. If you have any questions at all during the webinar, please use the Q&A box. The quiz for CEUs will be available the next business day late afternoon for everyone with qualifying attendance. Now, let's get started with today's webinar, and please welcome Dr. Susan Burke.
Yes, hold on, Susan. Let me go and share the PowerPoint for you, okay?
Yes.
Give me a second. I'm going to do it for you. Okay, all right, go ahead. Did you see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, can go ahead and start.
Hello, my name is Dr. Susan Burke, and I would like to share with you first the people that have influenced my practice in the last 40 years. The first is Dr. Celia Tom, and she allowed me to do both my internship and observation at her clinic instead of at school. So I tended to practice her style of medicine and have to since today. She practiced absolute magic, and I wanted to do that myself. The second doctor that has had a lot to do with my practice is Peter Fairfield. Peter has been practicing about 50 years, and he taught me many secrets that he was taught by his teachers. And the last doctor I would like to acknowledge is Master Jeffrey Yuen, Taoist priest, 88th generation, the Lotus Jade Party. And so, because of these three people, I tend to bring to the plate what I share with you today. Back in 1983, January 1st, 1983, was the very first time that the internet was out. January 1983. February 1984, a friend of mine from Michigan got in our old cars in the middle of a snowstorm in February and came across the country to an acupuncture school that was advertised in the East-West Journal. There was no internet back then. The only thing that there was at Shattuck Hospital, there was an internship program, and then there was a school that was advertised in the East-West Journal. So we each sent money to the school to hold our spot at the school, packed our cars up, and journeyed across the country to come to the school. It ended up being a scam school when we got there. We knew something wasn't right. And we ended up at California Acupuncture College due to Joe Lazaro. And because of that, that's where I graduated from, and I am so grateful. So today we're going to head into the topic of sleep, and sleep is such an important issue for all of us. Do any of us get the amount of sleep that we really need? 1/3 of our lives is supposed to be spent asleep. We can't make our own sleep hours. We can't say, well, I like to sleep between this time and this time. The body tells us when we should be sleeping. Why do we need to sleep? We need to sleep for basic survival. We need to sleep for brain health because the body actually processes new information at night. We need to sleep for physical health so we have the endurance to keep going. We need to sleep for disease prevention because we will get sick if we do not have the amount of hours that we need every single day to sleep. And we will talk more about these amount of hours later, but disease prevention is important. Mental health. People will become literally crazy without sleep. During World War II, they did an experiment where they took several soldiers and for 2 weeks did not allow them any sleep at all, just bright lights. And they literally went nuts. They became almost schizophrenic. So we absolutely have to have sleep, the amount of sleep that's necessary to get what we need. Safety. If people don't get enough sleep, they're going to have accidents. That's why older people have lots more accidents. And if you ask the Medicare docs, they'll all tell you, oh, older people bump into things, they fall easier. They're doing that because they are sleep deprived, not because they don't have good coordination. And then the last thing is it helps prevent against insulin resistance. So these are really important reasons why we sleep. So we sleep for survival, we sleep for our mental health, we sleep for cognitive health, we sleep for disease prevention, for the ability to heal, because at nighttime, our tissues and our organs and our cells rejuvenate and heal if we're sleeping properly. If not, then the body can't properly heal. So, next, please. We need REM sleep when we're talking about sleeping. REM sleep is where we go deep, deep into the layers of the body, and it takes us into the 90-minute cycle that hits REM, where we can dream, where we feel like we really go out deep. And we need 4 REM cycles a night to feel nourished and relaxed and replenished. Not 3, not 2, but 4. So if we're getting up every hour on the hour to urinate or because we don't breathe, that is not getting us what we need. And yes, we might be resting, but we are severely sleep deprived. Sleep deficiency causes many diseases. It can cause kidney disease, it can cause heart disease, it can cause blood, brain, and mental health disease. I went to school with a teacher that was a very wise teacher, but in her retired years, she has decided to make her own sleep schedule and doesn't get in bed every night till at least 3 o'clock because she's talking to India on the phone. In the last 4 years, she has developed the 3rd stage of kidney disease. I believe it is because she's not getting that adequate sleep. The first 2 organs of detox, both the gallbladder and the liver, she's awake. So those organs can't detox. And we can't make up lost sleep. Once we've lost it, we're basket cases. We can't make it up the next day. We must make it up that day. We need each day to be a rich night's sleep. Next. Next. Why sleep? What is sleep and why do we need it? We need it for survival. From the age of 18 and to the age of 60, the body needs 7 or more hours of sleep. Ages 61 to 64, 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Ages 65 and more, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Not 5 hours, not 6, but 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Lack of sleep causes injuries for people. And so all of us, to be human, to be normal, to feel amazing, need sleep. Symptoms of sleep deprivation. And again, we may want to look at this in picture of our patients who come in and tell us of these symptoms, but we're not putting the full picture together. If your patient has at least 5 of these 13 symptoms, they're badly sleep deprived. And that is the real issue that you need to address, not other things. So the first one is mood changes. There will be mood changes when somebody is sleep deprived. Anxiety, depression, challenges with memory, focus and concentration problems, impaired motor function, fatigue, weakened immune system, weight gain, high blood pressure, insulin resistance, chronic diseases like diabetes and heart disease, and increased risk of early death. So all 13 of these symptoms are from the person not sleeping right night after night, maybe getting a light night's sleep, but never going into REM. And this is how it will affect them: the mood changes, the anxiety, depression, challenges with memory, focus and concentration, impaired motor function, fatigue, weakened immune system, weight gain, increased blood pressure, insulin resistance, chronic diseases like diabetes and heart disease, and increased risk of death. So this is important to look at so we don't overlook the real cause of why someone is coming in. The sleep challenges are lighting, stress, our bed partner, repressed emotion, and sleep apnea. Next. What is optimal sleep? So optimal sleep is done in the darkest of night when the yin forces flow deeper and deeper into the body, mind, and spirit, nourishing the Zangfu organs and their 5 corresponding organs. So it has to be done in the darkest of night, and it needs to go in to nourish everything in your body. If the Shen doesn't properly go into the heart at night because of either heart deficiency or yin deficiency, the person will be restless all night long and not sleep. Next. What is insomnia? So insomnia is the inability to fall asleep, the inability to stay asleep, or both, the inability to fall asleep and stay asleep. Reportedly, there are 100 million cases of insomnia every year in the country, and this is what's reported. And 70 million reported cases of sleep apnea. But again, reported. 8.4% of humans take sleeping medications every day. So we're looking at a huge amount of the population that has trouble sleeping. So this is a really important thing to address. Next. Next, I've already gone over the 3 types. The 3 Chinese syndromes related to sleep. The first one, is liver fire, and that person is going to be trouble sleeping, but they're going to be irritable and red eyes and angry and restless and grouchy. So that's the first one, liver fire. The next one, heart fire, is probably the most common of the three syndromes for people to experience when they have insomnia. Difficulty falling asleep, but restless, palpitations, dreams, nightmares. That's the second one, inability to be able to empty the mind at night. And then the third syndrome is spleen Qi deficiency. So yes, there's also the inability to fall asleep, but there's grogginess, lethargy, and poor digestion. So all of those can be related, but what I'm going to throw out to you is that I believe there's many more syndromes related to sleep because of being in the 21st century than are listed here. Next. So repressing negative emotions really affect our sleep in a big way. If we're sleeping with a bed partner that we have unresolved emotions with, we're angry at, we don't really like, we're picking up on their energy. According to the science of kinesiology, our energetic field is 55 feet all the way around us. And if we're laying in bed next to someone 3 feet away, 4 feet away, maybe closer, we are energetically picking up on their stuff. If everything is fine between you, that's great. If it's not, go sleep in another room. Why pick up on that other person's energy? Because negative emotions affect us so deeply, when we're talking about the Chinese clock, it really affects us because there are 4 particular organs between 11 and 7 at night. That's when the Chinese want you to sleep. And there's a reason being, is because there are 4 main organs that detox at night. And I know you learned this in acupuncture school, but I'm just trying to remind you to pull it all together. So the gallbladder, there's lots of indecision. The liver, 1 to 3 in the morning, repressed anger. 3 to 5 in the morning, repressed grief. And 5 to 7 in the morning, inability to let go of something that's bothering you, someone screwed you, hurt you, done wrong to you. So instead of embracing in that and allowing it to move out, you're holding on to that emotion. And that doesn't help you at all. It doesn't serve you. We have enough to deal with right in the today and the now, without yesterday, without tomorrow. Just be fully present in today and allow yourself to heal these organs or emotions that stop us from sleeping properly. I want to give you an example. I had a woman come in who would sleep until 1 o'clock in the morning, and like clockwork, no matter what time she went to sleep, she would wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning, really grouchy and really irritable, and could not get back to sleep till 3 o'clock. She was a civilian working for the Navy, and she was a very pretty woman. And they would touch her inappropriately. They would pat her on the backside, make sexual innuendos to her. And because she was a single mom supporting her child, she didn't feel like she could say anything. So she was upset. And every night, like clockwork, her body woke her up because she was upset that she had to deal with these negative males touching her and saying inappropriate things to her. The other case I want to tell you about is a professor that I had many years ago at university. And her son died without any notice. He touched an electrical outlet, was electrocuted, and died. And this woman was in terrible grief. This was the closest person in her life, but she could not cry. She couldn't move the emotion. It was so stuck, and she was so upset. So anyway, these emotions can really affect us, and we can't act like they don't. We're such sensitive humans. We're being affected by radiation from our cell phones, radiation from our computers, radiation from televisions, from all the devices in our homes, from the high wires outside. We're such sensitive beings, and we're taking on all this negativity from the earth. So it's important to really do what we need to get rid of it. There is a treatment that I would like to teach you at this point that was taught to me by Dr. Peter Fairfield. And this is to get rid of negative emotions in the body. It will treat insomnia. It will treat depression. It'll treat grief. And it is such a powerful treatment. I cannot physically show you on here because of the slides, but I will talk you through it. So I'd like you to perpendicularly, which means I want you to put them straight up and down. Bladder 13, bladder 14, bladder 15, bladder 42, bladder 43, bladder 44. And I want you to do that bilaterally on both sides of the spine. So we have 6 needles sticking straight up perpendicularly, bladder 13, 14, 15, bladder 42, 43, 44. Now, I'm going to have you thread the points from bladder 42 into bladder 13. I'm going to have you thread bladder 43 into bladder 14 and thread bladder 43 into bladder 15. And then the last one will be threading bladder 13 down to bladder 15. So as you see by looking at this treatment, and the only other thing that I add to this treatment is dew 14, gallbladder 20, and heart 7, everything in this treatment goes to support the spirit. It is the most powerful treatment. It's not too many needles. Try it out, see what a difference it makes for you. But I get patients coming back to me saying, Dr. Burke, would you do that again for me? It really helped me. Next. 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 So we talked about these restorative hours a little bit earlier, but the body needs them. If you give your body more sleep, great. Less sleep, your body is not going to be happy. I have a friend who told me he goes to bed every night at 12 and he gets up at 6, and that he doesn't need any more than that. And yet my friend has had a sore on his body that hasn't healed. And it's very interesting to me that it's now been almost 3 months and there's this open wounding sore that is not healing because I believe he's not getting the sleep that he needs. So restorative sleep is the sleep we go into the REM, we get into the dream cycle, and ideally we want at least 4 REM cycles a night. Next, please.
Hi, Dr. Burke. Do you mind repeating all the points that you mentioned earlier?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so the treatment from Dr. Fairfield that is so powerful is bladder 13, bladder 14, bladder 15, bladder 42, bladder 43, bladder 44. And those are done perpendicular, straight up and down. Then you're going to take bladder 42 and you're going to thread it horizontally to bladder 13. You're going to take bladder 43 and thread it into bladder 14. And you're going to take bladder 44 and thread it into bladder 15. And then the last one is you're going to take bladder 13 and you're going to run a horizontal or threading down to bladder 15. So everything goes to support the spirit and the heart. I also add heart 7, dew 14, and gallbladder 20. It's a wonderful treatment. Is that good, Myra?
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I think that we need to go to the next slide. I just covered this treatment for depression and grief. All right, rituals before bed. Excuse me for just a minute. Let's come back to that one, please. Treatment for depression and grief, I've taught you. Next. The rituals before bed, I would like to come back to. We're going to be taking a shower before you go to bed. You're going to be starting to turn your lights down about an hour before bed. I would like you to turn your computer and your phones off before bed. Allow yourself to get used to the dim lighting for about an hour as you start to turn your lighting down in your home. You're clean, you've washed the day away in the shower, and you're ready to sleep. You want to make sure there's a lot of circulation in your room, either a fan or open window, but you want air to move in there. And then the Taoist ritual that we do before bed is we tell you from beginning to lay there in silence for 5 minutes before you go to bed. And allow yourself to visually see your whole day in front of you. You got up, you had a cup of tea, you made some phone calls, you booked some patients, maybe you treated some patients, but see your whole day in front of you, every interaction you've had with people, your meals, your nighttime. You're starting to turn your lights down, take your shower, get ready. And then you see the words, the end. The movie is over and done. Everything that you needed to learn today, this lifetime is with you in this moment. Without yesterday, without tomorrow. Just be fully present with today and allow the day to be complete and done. Next. All right, self-massage. There's 3 different massage techniques that I want to talk about. The first one is going to be taking the heart meridian from heart 7 to heart 3 and taking your thumb and massaging it from the 7 to the 3, just up. I would do about 20 strokes right up the meridian, just very slowly, right up to the heart. Kind of rub the heart 3 a little bit, go back to heart 7 again. And I would do that 20 times. The second thing would be to take your ears and pull down on the ear lobe like this, really pulling, kind of circulate the ears a little bit. Nobody can do this for you but you. All your organs and parts are in your ears. Just give them a stimulation. Next, please. Alcohol is really a big issue for sleep. There is no way that you will have proper sleep with alcohol. I know alcohol is fun and people like it because it kind of loosens them up a little bit, but as we know, it severely depletes the body's yin. So all night long, you will wake up thirsty and you will wake up having to urinate. You will not have a deep night's sleep. But besides the fact that if you guys Google vitamins depleted from alcohol, you will see that every single one of the vitamins, vitamin A, B, C, D, all the vitamins are dredged out or leached out from 1 glass of alcohol. So you could sit down and eat this amazing meal and all these veggies and brown rice and nice salmon, and then you have a glass of alcohol and you cancel out everything that you've just eaten. So if you're going to have alcohol, have it earlier in the day. don't have it at nighttime because it will so affect your sleep in a bad way. And I'm sorry, I'm telling you guys this to disappoint you, but alcohol is alcohol. It's very dehydrating. Next, please. Okay, so travel. Travel affects us in a huge way. First, because we're going against time zones, or we're going into a different time zone than we were at. But secondly, we're sleeping in areas that we're not comfortable with or that we're not used to. The rooms usually have too much light in them. So I usually open my suitcase and I'm taking my socks and underwear and different things that I brought with me to stuff them over all the light things, the light coming out of the television, the light coming out of the phones, the light coming from underneath the door. I shove a towel under there. But then you're going to find there is a smoke alarm above you. And the smoke alarm has this little light coming out of it. So usually I will ask one of the employees at the hotel to come with a ladder to my room. And I bring some little black tape with me when I travel. And it was when my son was in martial arts and we used to have to put stripes on his badge. It was that thin black tape that I bring with me. And so I offer a custodian at the hotel some money to stand on a ladder and cover up that light coming out of the smoke alarm. It does help. But smoke alarms in general emit radiation for 50 feet all the way around them. So when you go into a room and it's by yourself, if you can choose the bed furthest away from the smoke alarm. If you don't have a choice, you don't, but it's something to think about. The other thing is you could stand on a ladder and dismantle the smoke alarm. I've done that a few times in different hotel rooms. There's nothing you can do about the light that comes between the blackout curtains and the wall. It's what it is in a hotel. But the other thing is that your body wants to reset that clock quicker inside. It doesn't want to have to suffer with jet lag. And so what we have been taught is 3 milligrams of melatonin for every time zone that you're going to go against. My son just went to Greece and he went against 4 time zones. So I had him take 12 milligrams of melatonin the day he arrived and the next day. And then there will be no jet lag at all. Otherwise, there can be huge jet lag because of the amount of difference that there is. I'm just reading a message here from you, Myra. No, I have a lot more. I have a lot more to say. Don't worry. Okay, next, please. I think before we go over the light exposure, I'm going to cover something different right now so that we can, because there aren't PowerPoints for every area that I want to talk in. First of all, I'd like to cover outside disturbances for sleep that sometimes we can do something about, sometimes we can't. So the outside disturbances. First of all, there's something called dust mites. Dust mites can get into your bed, can get in your pillows, your blankets. They are bugs. When you're in a light room and the sun is shining in and you see all those particles in the air, that is dust mites. So they are very important to remove. They can affect your sleep. There's something called a dust mite remover. This is it here. I got it from Amazon and it was $62 and it will not only do your furniture, but it will also do your mattresses, your bed. You want to make sure that your pillows and your blankets, every time you make your bed, need to go into a hot dryer for 20 minutes. 20 minutes will kill the dust mites, but it is an important thing to remember. The second thing is that people get fleas here, and fleas affect you at night. They're worse at night. They bite at night. So if there is a flea issue for you, tea tree oil can help, salt and baking soda can also help in the carpeting. I do not want to recommend having to do a balm in a room because that can be terrible for your health to have to breathe in those chemicals, but those are real issues. The next thing that I'd like to bring up is a personal thing, and I like to do it because of being a teacher and so that you can learn from this experience. About 3 months ago, I contacted something called scabies. I have no idea how I got them. Scabies are little mites that live under your skin. They're highly contagious. You get them off of bed covers. You can get them off of cloth furniture. You get them from other people that have them. You don't know you have a problem until they really start to spread. So you kind of get an itch here and itch there. But what I want to teach you is how to recognize them so you know, because scabies come out at night, and that's when the incessant itching is going to be, is at night. So what to look for is a red pimple with a hole in it. So that red pimple with a hole in it is the scabies that has gone in and injected into the pimple to lay babies. So it sounds gross, but you guys really need to be aware of it. More and more immigrants coming over the border are bringing them in. Little children get them easily. I know recently at the Hotel Dell, they had to shut down one of the areas that people take pictures in because the fabric was full of scabies from visitors. So it is a very important thing. The way that I got rid of them was 2 things. Number one, they give you a cream, because when you have them and they're bad, and by the time that mine were bad, they were all over my whole body. I chose to do ivermectin. My son gave me my first dosage. After that, I went to my physician's assistant, told her it worked, and she gave me another prescription for it. The ivermectin works. When you have it, you don't want to deal with having to take a long time to get rid of it. You want to get rid of it now. So I'm letting you guys know that because it's really an issue that you need to be aware of as to what they look like. So outside disturbances, there are EMF related disturbances such as a smart meter and a step down transformer. Step down transformers are the high wires that we then have the buckets, the big silver buckets on top of the high wires, and that's where they pull more electrical usage into those transformers. Those leak radiation big time. You want to be as far away from step down transformers as you can. Many years ago, I had a woman in Michigan, a teacher, who owned a little home that her parents left her, a little 800 square foot home, and she had horrible insomnia, and it didn't matter what I recommended, what we tried, nothing would work. Her name was Mary. So I told Mary, I said, you know, I don't normally do this, but I'm going to come and do a home visit. And so I went to her home. And as soon as I pulled my car up, I realized what was going on right in the middle. She only had a little 800 square foot home, but in the middle of the backyard was a step down transformer, probably 500 feet from her bedroom. I said, there is no fix for this. Sell the home. And she was upset about it because this was a family home, but the power company was not going to move their step down transformer. So I had mentioned smart meters. We'll talk a little bit more about smart meters in a little bit, but smart meters are put onto your electrical devices down where you have your power in your home. And it's put there by, I'm here with SDG&E. I'm sure you may have a different power company up north, but they put a smart meter onto your device so that they can monitor the usage from their office. So they can say you've used how many watts, blah, blah, blah. Well, these are radio waves that pulse through your home all day long for them to be able to read that. You have the right to have this smart meter turned off. Number one, it means that you're saving a human a job, because smart meters, that what it means is that for me, I have to pay an extra $10 a month to have my smart meter turned off, and it means that a human every 2 months have to come out to my home and read my meter. So it saves a human a job. That when I read to you all the symptoms from smart meters, I think that you're going to be impressed to actually have to at least look at it or think about it. Now, there's noises from planes. There's not a lot we can do about it. In San Diego, our mayor allows a plane to leave at 6 o'clock in the morning. So there will be no plane noises before 6 in the morning until 11 o'clock at night. So if you're a light sleeper, you can almost listen for those plane noises, knowing that it's about 6 o'clock. Yes, there's ambulances outside, there's car alarms, there's helicopters, there's babies crying, thin walls, disturbances from other houses, other humans, building lights outside. All these things affect us, and there's not a lot we can do about the noise factor other than to have a white noise machine. Sometimes if we're out deep enough, we're not affected, but for many times you can be in the deepest of sleep and all of a sudden hear someone's car alarm go off outside and they're not aware it's going off. So it takes them 5 minutes to turn it off. You're pretty bummed out. So inside factors, if you share a bed with somebody, be very careful you don't pick up on their energy. We talked about the rituals: shower before bed, turning lights down 1 hour ahead, take your supplements, stop cell phones and television use about an hour beforehand, and do your Taoist ritual. There are chakras on the body that can help you to detect what's going on with your patient as well. I've been taught to break the body down into chakras, and if you see both areas lit up, then you even more know to concentrate there. So I'm going to start with the hand. The hand is the first chakra. The wrist is the second chakra. The third chakra is the lower arm. The fourth chakra, your heart, is your elbow. Your fifth chakra is your upper arm. Sixth chakra is top of the rotator cuff. And seventh is the neck. Again, I'll go over them. First chakra, second, third, fourth is the elbow, fifth, sixth, seventh is the neck.
Can you show
Now,
us one more time?
Sure, and then I'm going to do the lower half of the body. So the hand is the first chakra. People have money issues unresolved. It doesn't mean lack of money. It just means money issues unresolved. And then the second chakra are abandonment issues. People feel abandoned by others, abandoning themselves, abandoning God, but these are abandonment issues that are unresolved. Again, so it's a beautiful way that the body has to teach us that this is where the body needs to be worked on. The third chakra is the lower arm here. This
Can
is
you raise your arm up a little more?
Oh, okay. Yeah, here.
Great.
So this represents love of self. That's your solar plexus. We're all God. We come here and believe that we're not, but we're all a piece of the apple pie. And we come here and we forget that we're a piece of the apple pie and we get sick. So it's a really important thing to remember. The fourth chakra is the elbow. Many, many, many people have issues there. Heart issues are usually sadness, repression of grief, depression. They're not usually happy emotions that house in the elbow. They're usually sad ones. Then the fifth chakra is the upper arm here. And then the sixth chakra is the rotator cuff. And then the seventh would be the neck. And I'd like to break the lower body down into the chakras as well, because if somebody's coming in and saying, I have this, and they're both the same chakra, it gives you an indication. All right, so lower part of the body, the foot, is the first chakra. The second chakra is the ankle. The third is the lower leg. The fourth is the knee. The fifth is the upper leg. The 6th is the groin. And then the 7th is your 7th chakra, is your hip. So the hip and the neck relate to each other. The knee and the elbow relate to each other. So it's important to correlate all the pictures that we see, the facial diagnosis, what they're verbally telling us, what they're not telling us, and then look at the chakra issue, see if there's something there. So because all of us are so affected by radiation everywhere, looking at this next information is very important. There is geopathic energy, or energy that comes out of the earth all day long, every day. The man who discovered this, Dr. Hartman, read geothermographs, and he read thousands of them to be able to pull together this aspect that the Hartman lines are like little square grids. They all are lined up next to each other, and they're a grid system known as a global network all over the body. Wherever these lines touch and cross is called a Hartman line, and they're about 20 centimeters wide. The Hartman lines are not conducive to health. It's where radiation from the earth comes up, but more comes up at these crossing points, and especially at night. More radiation comes out of these points at night. So the important thing to remember is that the Hartman lines are more based on radiation. But there's also something called a Curry line. Curry lines go opposite way that the Hartman lines go, and they more affected by astral, or more the stars. They're more affected by those things, but also are affected by radiation. And where the Hartman line and the Curry lines cross, a lot of radiation comes out. So I want to tell you guys a story about a gentleman that was 32 years old in Birmingham, Michigan, which is where my practice was for 20 years. And Birmingham was a very wealthy city like La Jolla. And this young man developed the 4th stage of cancer, and there was no cancer in the family. He ate really good. He was an athlete. There were no reasons why this man should be sick, but he was very sick. And first I heard about it from family members. Then they asked if I would come over and visit him and see if there was anything I could do. When I walked in, the first thing I noticed is the bed was one of those solid, heavy beds that takes 4 men to be able to put together. So there were 4, there was this heavy duty bed, and this man laying there very listless and limp. And my intuition told me there was something off in the room. I don't know what else to tell you other than I'm a very intuitive being, and something didn't feel right. So I encouraged the woman to have the dowsing association come over. Dowsers are people that use these dowsing rods. They look like hangers that open up, and they can tell you where the energy comes out. So I encouraged them to hire some dowsers. The dowsers came over and speculated that where this man was laying in bed was directly below a Hartman line. So by moving the bed over just a few feet, believe it or not, this man healed. Every night that he wasn't laying in this very toxic situation right above the Hartman line, he was healing, and he got better and better and healed from his cancer. It was pretty profound to me, because it's the first time I'd ever seen someone who was not well just from a Hartman line. But then when I started studying, the hospitals all have beds in them that if the nurses ask you, there's one bed in room K10, bed 2, that no matter who they put on that bed either dies or doesn't do really well. There's a Hartman line below the bed. It's something to look at.